to another episode of the Fully Alive podcast. Today with Alex, a fellow coach and friend. We met at a 2-day conference of another coach, and we're also both following a program of hers and stayed in contact also to help each other, inspire each other. And from that part came this part. So let's record a podcast. So, Alex, I would love to ask you to introduce yourself.
Yes, well, thanks for the invitation, and so happy to connect with you. Because yeah, love your energy right away.
Mm,
So that's why we got together. Yeah, myself originally from Germany, have been living in the Netherlands for almost 9 years now,
mhm,
and well, after quite some struggles on finding out in my career that I'm f climbing a mountain that's not mine, so to speak, and quite some distractions as life had in plan for me. Yeah, I came onto my journey to becoming a coach and mixing two things together that are in this instance or in this form not existent yet.
mhm,
Just to get people to really find who they truly are in their essence and live from there, so to speak. In a nutshell, in a nutshell.
in a nutshell.
That's really it. Yeah.
We'll dive in more deeply because that's also what this podcast is about. But one of the first questions I always like to ask is what makes you feel fully alive?
Fully alive. Oi. That's a good one. Well, it's definitely not chasing dreams that are not mine.
That's a start, knowing what isn't it
Knowing
true.
what isn't. And I think we live in a world of dualism where that is where we can really very easily learn that.
Hmm.
But fully alive is less and less materialistic things.
Hmm.
Um, Knowing that those securities are there is fine. But it's more to be really aligned to my essence.
Mm.
And when I say essence, that means to more intelligence that we humans have than just our intellect.
Hmm.
Our thoughts, the little voices in our head are so strong. And I think emotional intelligence that became already known and is accepted widely.
Yeah.
The body intelligence and to live with that and to be able to talk to your body, to use that and to live with that equally as with your feelings or your thoughts. Not so much, I would say,
Hmm.
let alone the bigger intelligence, which I call the soul or your life essence, because even scientifically, there is surely an energy, a part, I call it soul, give it a name,
Hmm.
that makes our heart beat every day, and that even science can't explain. So that all shows me there's much more than intellect and rational only. So how do I find a way to live with all of that in my essence, from my heart, in coherence with all the parts, and then on top can share that and bring other to the same part, and that's or on the same way, and that kind of became now my life mission, and really sharing that with beautiful people and the right energy, uh, with people that I'm resonating with, and well, you're one of them, so
Mm.
yeah.
Thank you. Also, thank you for your answer. And then, if we want to dive in a bit more, like make it practical. So, you already mentioned helping others, also living this full essence of being you, where we talk about rational emotions, energy, body intelligence, and cosmic intelligence, soul, whatever we're connected to. And
Mhm.
the divine, or we can have many, many names. But if you make it really practical in a daily practice for yourself, what does that look like?
Um, well, I'm combining more and more two things, and that's actually what I'm doing with my coaching as well.
Hmm.
Is um, for my body, is really trying to learn through your posture and your movement to
Hmm.
get in to really learn to talk with your body. That's
Mm.
really a thing. So, give a practical example. I think that's the best thing anyhow, is no matter what question of help, what issue I have, it's a good thing to quiet your mind, to ask your rational mind to step aside and just observe. Don't
Hmm.
sit it out because this controlling mind of ours well, we gave it the task to control and to make decisions in our life and just overcharged it with responsibilities that it was never meant to have in the first place. That's what I believe.
Hmm.
Um, and learning then to use the body intelligence, I would just stand there and say, with an issue that I have at work, that I have in my life, a decision to make, what kind of posture comes up? And then there comes a certain posture up, and then trying to read that. And well, with the coach asking the right questions in the right time is, of course, easier.
Hmm.
But I'm learning more and more to do this. And yeah, the insights that come out of that, that afterwards, via the rational, you bring into words, into understanding, into consciousness, it's just a miracle,
Mm.
I would say. And this is one technique that I'm really using more and more. And the other one, because I learned a beautiful hypnosis technique called quantum healing hypnosis from
Hmm.
Dolores Cannon, connecting you with that larger divine, I love that, divine and cosmic intelligence, or the subconscious, as we call it there, that is much larger. And
Mm.
there have been thousands of cases over the last 40 years that she's developed that method. There's 17 books. There's so much evidence that we are much more connected than we've ever believed to
Mm.
be, or grown up to believe to be, I should say. Um, and that is, I call it the higher self that you can connect with.
Mm.
And your higher self, there, that's a different language to learn. And I love languages. That's via symbols, because our rational mind that talks via words, but our um, soul, the higher intelligence that loves to talk and give visuals, to talk in symbols. And the best way is to dream, because that state when you fall a dream and when you're not really gone entirely into sleeping, or when you wake up, this fuzzy, you still remember your
Yeah, this in
dreams,
between.
this in
Yeah,
between a scientific person would say, oh, that's the state where you mainly have theta waves active in your brain.
that's
That
what I
kind of
wanted to say.
resonance. Yeah, exactly, exactly. Um, that state with those symbols, dreams are symbols. So your subconscious is talking to you and giving messages, and learning to live to use your dreams is one thing, but you can actually more and more communicate with that. And the insights that your higher self has is always just as nature or the cosmos
Hmm.
in its entirety works. You get the right thing that you need to know in the moment that you need to, not a second too early, not a second too late, right in that moment. And it's this, I call it divine timing and insights that are very interesting. And via dreams, you can learn more and more to do this as well, which I'm learning for myself.
Hmm.
Um, and otherwise, together with other people, there's a million things that you can do. But this really practically seen learns that for me, that I can stop searching more outside of myself. Any other sources of information, explanations, God knows what. Because everything that I need really for myself, for my life, is somewhere here in this field, let's call it, right?
Hmm.
And just to get to that. So the body for me is by now one example, and the higher self, the connection via the right side of the brain to really use that, to talk with that and to use that more than only the intelligence side. I think a little bit more scientifically speaking, that's the other thing. So those things I'm starting to do more and more practical, if that all makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I really like it. And it makes so much sense of becoming more whole.
Yes.
So it's also, I don't like the sentence getting out of your head, in your heart, or in your body, but it's really to connect all these pieces together. So to learn this language, to learn that language. And you also said like translate it back to words, to ratio, because sometimes it's the in, like talking can be the entrance to dive deeper, but you can also use it the other way around and get the insight like, aha, and you can verbalize it and teach it like you
Yeah.
do now. So I really, really like the trinity of it. It's a beautiful, beautiful way of practicing
Yeah.
being alive.
Absolutely. And I love what you just said with that Trinity, and to not judge anything away. I think if I would just love for people to do one thing is to stop misjudging or devaluating any parts of themselves or anything outside within the world. Because if you do
Mm.
that, you're just diminishing a part from yourself, and that's not. the way. I think that's really a problem that we humans have, because in nature it's not happening, and anywhere in the cosmos I haven't heard of it. It's just humans. Why are we humans so obsessed with, that's bad, that's wrong? Let it be. I'm not saying everything is okay. That's a big difference. It's not
Yeah.
everything is okay,
Mm.
but from this neutral point, be there. And that's for me personally, that's what I call the essence, to be in this neutral point, centered, and to not say, oh, my head is, the problem here, or my heart is the problem. No, nothing is the problem. But I so love what you said, to bring that all in coherence, and with it all, and from a center neutral state, make a decision and live from that state. That is entirely different life experience, I would call it, than yeah, I've lived so far in my 43 years on this planet. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it is quite a journey. And it's also what you said about rejection or judgment on things, labeling inside or labeling outside. It will
Mhm.
always mirror a shadow in you. Like if I'm really irritated or annoyed by something, like for example, my partner who can be really lazy, or that's my my label, right?
Mm.
After dinner he likes his leisure time, just taking a cup of coffee, and I'm like, let's clean up first, let's wash the dishwasher, and if it's tidy I can rest. That's also
Yeah.
like a pattern, like I need to do this and then I can rest. And he can just say, oh no, I'm first taking my 5 or 10 minutes time. So first I was really frustrated until
Mm.
I could turn it around and see like, oh my, wait, what's my issue with it? What's my pattern and what's my lesson here? So like, okay. So every time you're like, there's always a lesson. Every trigger you can see as a gift. I cannot always see it as a gift, but I try to.
Yeah,
once
exactly.
once I cool down.
Yeah, exactly. And that's superhuman. And oh my God, this is such an important example, I think, for everyone living. It's this annoyance. And because I see people being more and more annoyed as well. Because something is happening on the planet. You can measure that everywhere. But just look around how it seems, to so many things bubbling up, bubbling up, bubbling up. But I think with people just becoming more aware,
Mm,
that's a natural process. So also there, don't misjudge it and say, oh, this is all bad. But when you find yourself so triggered, and I love that you do this, because that shows how much responsibility and um, yeah, it's an act of love in that sense, also for the others, that you are willing to take that responsibility to stop yourself first
mhm.
and say, what's my part in here? Because that's it's not always the easiest thing to do, is it? You
I
know that.
didn't do that at first.
Me neither, I can tell you. I'm always like, ugh.
Yeah.
And I was really the fixer as well. I think this is why the first version of my program I'm calling the Fixer Detox, because stop trying to save the world. I think for people just
Mm,
with our kind of traits is very important, and there's
yeah.
so many out there.
Yeah.
Because once you realize you actually keep this pattern that you hate most, running with your behavior of always answering, always fixing,
Yeah.
boy, and that of course hurts. It's and I see this with people who even recognize that pattern but can't break it. You know
Mm,
what's that? And I don't want to even say technique, but what within you needs to make click,
yeah. Yeah,
right?
I also use that body language. You need this experience, and we can talk and talk and talk. And if you're really smart, you say, "Oh yeah, I get it." Like with every book you
Yeah,
read and skip the exercises. I'm that kind of person, and still am sometimes. But then, yeah, I know. But nothing changed because you didn't embody it. You didn't experience it. You have to live it again and
beautiful.
again and again, because a pattern is not broken in one time. And then it's like there's this third time or 30th time, depends on the problem and the program you're running. And then it's hitting home. And I think
Yeah,
that's also part of your soul coming back, like, oh, this is mine, because the program isn't yours, the pattern isn't yours. And you
yeah.
can retrieve it or feel it again. And that feeling, yeah, then it starts coming alive. And it's also a systemic thing. I'm also working with constellations and the book The Fountain from Els von Stein. And she
Mhm.
also calls a judgment, an ordeal, that you go up in the fountain and you're not on your rightful place. And
Mhm.
only in your place in the fountain, life is easy. You can root, you can ground, energy is flowing into you. So when you judge, you hire yourself in a way. So the flow is not going right. So it's even heavy in a systemic way, and you're judging. So there's a pattern. You're, yeah, because of the shadow that will always play out through you. So it's a double lose.
Yeah, yeah. And yeah, that's exactly what happens. That's a beautiful analogy that we have with because with the thing that I do part of that with the body language. It's body and
Mm,
mind language. It's a Dutch technique by Jos Dolstra, where she combines dance therapy and NLP.
mhm,
So that the important part here is that we not only move and don't talk, or only talk and don't move and don't listen to our body, but it's combining both. That's really all of it. That's really the strength. And equivalent to what you say there, it's what I believe as well. When you're really in your center, and what really makes always click with me, and you just said that word, is feeling home.
mhm,
Because when we judge, when we look out there, and the more we do that, the more we try to acquire as humans this feeling of emptiness inside, no matter what you do. And now I'm sounding like Buddha, any yogi potentially, or wherever, but I don't care because they had a freaking point there. The more you search outside, the more empty you feel.
mhm.
Nothing outside of yourself can ever fill that emptiness.
Sure.
And no matter how much you fix around you, and I tried for years, I've been trying. No matter what you fix, coming from a broken family myself is like, I always say my family is like Cologne after World War II. Only the cathedral was standing and the rest was kind of like bombed down. That's
Mhm,
kind of where I came from. Um, and then you try to fix everything and everyone around you. Doesn't work until you come to this point. And I have been running against walls enough to say, okay, what's here inside? And um, yeah, it's really coming there. And then this what we call, well, in Dutch we say Basisvertrauen.
mhm. A basic trust.
This base trust, and it's almost like this analogy to your fountain, being in the fountain where the water can flow, is having this vertical
Mhm,
axis almost, where your higher self and down into the earth. It's not always up, up, up. It's down into the earth as well, the roots,
yeah.
where that energy can flow, right? And then you don't search outside, on the horizontal. But people, all of us who are still outside there, looking, we miss this part here. And once that's rooted and this energy flows,
Mm,
yeah, it's a completely different state of life, and it's not done in one day. Surely not. Our
no.
our life experience is so multifolded. I think it would be too boring at the same time as well when you could fix something like that so quickly, because then it's done and it's like what?
Give me the
Uh,
pill.
yeah, exactly.
I looked for it, the quick fix.
And did you find it?
Nah.
No.
The harder you look, the harder it gets.
Yeah,
Uh,
exactly. But
but
the
what you,
things,
yeah, I like this alignment, what you call,
yeah,
because it also links for me to the chakras. I
yeah,
love the chakras. They're really my library in dance, but also in the coaching.
yeah.
And they're, I'm even wearing my chakra necklace, but besides the linear fashion, you also have the cyclical fashion in
Mm,
which chakra 1 and 7 are combined cyclically. So
mhm,
the more you ground, the more you can rise. The more you rise, the more you need to ground. So it's not only up, 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 up. You need the material. We're alive in this body. So this is your vehicle for this lifetime. You can not only look for transcendence, you need this immanence as well. So that was a new word for me. I really had to look it up many, many times. But
mhm.
you need the opposite of transcendence to
Yeah,
even get more into this. Yeah.
yeah,
S
absolutely. I love
down.
that. And it's
Yeah.
yeah. It's so and that's again another synchronicity because I just had a dear friend over who has come all the way from France for her fourth session with me 2 weeks ago,
Cool.
and she got from her higher self, or the greater version that you can ask really everything that you like. She got the message that she's meant to plant the seeds within herself more of a tree of life. Now,
Mm,
I thought I always had something with trees anyhow, so we share that connection with trees. And I never understood really why until that day that really made me understand, and then following the whole weekend. And now you come along with your beautiful analogy with the chakras on how much the grounding is important. Because just like a tree, and there's in ancient mythologies and stuff, we have so many trees of life everywhere
yeah.
and that you can look around in all the different parts. But the same analogy holds true. The more you're rooted like a tree, and the roots are the first thing that grows anyhow into the ground, and you don't see it, and it's down in the dark, in the dirt. Just
True.
talked with a friend this week about it as well. But the more that is sophisticated, well nurtured,
Hmm.
together with the nature around you, the more the trees can rise. So
Yeah.
I think, and I see so many beautiful trees behind you as well. That's why
Yeah.
I had to think about it. Was reminded of that. And those synchronicities hold true because then the day after I went to the sauna after that session with my friend from France, I went to
Hmm.
the sauna, and by chance there was they called it Piet's Festival, where from Latvia, they had many traditional guests there, or workers, colleagues from Latvia, who were
Hmm.
doing it in the Latvian traditional way with leaves and this tuck 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 method that they do, and they all talked about the message that they convey within their methods and have always done for hundreds of years, also with the tree of life analogy. And that
Wow.
was just the day after. So, as if the universe wanted to say, Alex, you really need to get this message. And these kind of things. It's in the little signs, but those are the important ones, and you get them. So, yeah,
Oh,
completely aligned then.
I like it.
To
Yeah.
your point there.
And also this tree of life, I have it painted in my bedroom with the chakras. So many,
Oh,
many,
wow.
many synchronicities. I'll send you a picture later.
Please do
But
so.
I do have a question for you. So
Hmm.
you said I work with people who resonate or in the same kind of energy. So whom are you helping and whom are you helping with what?
Yeah. So making a decision now to really go a bit more, I don't want to say develop an expertise as such, because with the techniques, and I think equally with you, we can help a million people with no matter what.
Hmm.
I had already a colleague with me who had the topic of more fear of death kind of scenarios. A lot of others where with there's no evaluation in there, bigger, smaller problems, but with other problems, some more practical, everyday life. Funnily enough, everyone asked the question, "What's my mission in life?" Literally
Hmm.
everyone. I've
Hmm.
I, I, I've done 30 sessions so far with hypnosis, anyhow. And well, first off, when I say hypnosis, I'm always saying it's more a vision quest because people get the wrong idea with doing hypnosis.
Hmm.
So that's one thing, but I come back to that later. So you can help any problems, but there's a certain resonance,
Hmm.
as you say, with people that I really get, and not only because of my own past in life, but really because I get those people. So this is why people who have done that I want to help are really those people that have done a lot of development. They recognize a lot of patterns, and especially those that can't stop caring. Um, and giving too much of themselves and running empty because of it,
For the
and don't see
pleasers.
exactly pleasers, the fixers of the world,
Hmm.
um, and uh, mainly, well, year of the lifespan, I would say specifically between 35 and 45 to give an idea, but that's second, yeah, it's not really important, I would say.
Hmm.
Anyhow, but really who can't break the cycle of caring and trying to fix and running so empty, and bringing them back, as I said earlier, into this essence and really stop with the stories outside, especially with those stories that we've told ourselves one too many times.
Hmm.
I think we all can do this quite beautifully because then we believe and it becomes a overtuiging belief system.
And from a
Um,
belief, you get also a trait. So it gets to be almost a characteristic like, oh, I'm this kind of person. But are
that's
you? Or did you tell yourself?
exactly that point. So, and bring that back to the center and then live from that I don't want to say newly found. For me, the right word there would be remembered essence of who you
Mm,
are. And that because that essence has always been with you.
yeah,
When you look at babies, when you look at small little children, because all of just before all of the socialization process runs over you, religion, school, everything that we get from from our parents, society in general, whatever. Just before we are all pure when we come to this planet. So
yeah.
get get a lot, not everything I would say yet, because that takes a little bit of time, most likely, but a lot back into that state and then live from that state to
Mm,
really find out what is it that you came here for, this life.
yeah.
And I want to get people to do this before it's the last day of the life, because I always said already a couple of years ago, for me, there's three groups when we just before we take our last breath is people who, wander through life and they don't and they even missed the last point that they weren't really within themselves and
Uh-huh.
didn't really get it and just have to come around another cycle how I believe it. The second group, knowing that they kind of messed up a little bit there but haven't done anything about it, there's a lot of regret if you will so. Or the third group, where we find out during our lives something's not right, and then we do actively about it something. We take responsibility. And for me, that's important that people that work with me want to take this responsibility. And then, we get them out there, and specifically those fixers and carers and pleasers of the world. Because, and then I think we come to a tricky point of what that does if you keep continuing this pattern. I want to hear your thoughts about this.
Hmm.
Um, but to go back into the center, and then once you do that, you can give, you can care. There's a talent in that, but don't overuse it, and don't use it almost as manipulation to get
Hmm.
something for it. Reason of
Hmm.
existence, love,
Yeah.
uh, um, you know, attention from other people. That most likely we do unconsciously even, but to get that back and to live from that energy. And imagine then so you have so much, and I'm getting chills now. Sorry, I'm getting very passionate talking about this.
I love it.
Um, um, and then living really from that centeredness, and you can give so much that you like, but not
Mm,
anymore from dependence,
yeah.
just because you can.
Yeah.
And
It,
then you touching abundance, I would call
mm,
it true abundance, how that's meant to be. And just try and taste that kind of desire, because then you live from your true desire of your heart rather than any necessities that you talked yourself,
mm.
one too many times about, and then you started believing it.
Yeah. Yeah, I love this because it's also, if we just skip this first category and we only look at category two and three, it's like they're hitting a level of consciousness also without judgment, right? Because we all have our life journey and soul mission, or how to call it. So those two are getting conscious. And then we have again this red and blue pill actually. So who's committed to go on this journey? And once you start, you cannot stop. That's just the thing, because there's no end. I'm not going to fix you. You're not going to fix them or yourself in a way like it's layered. And so if you decide not to do anything about it, think about what that costs you and your loved ones, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of people um, either not knowing and they're in this zombie robot mode, rat race, and then there's the people who know it, put on blind these oogkleppen. It's not
Yeah.
blindfolds, but tunnel, making a tunnel vision,
Yeah.
like the horse,
Yeah.
and
Yeah. Exactly.
it's la la la. It's not there. and I'm living my be life actually.
Mm.
That's how I feel it. And there's the more frustration and more resentment because you are doing everything from this pleaser program and you're over giving actually because you're not uh, fully aware of your own boundaries if you keep
Yeah,
in this pleasing mode.
yeah,
And you can get on into this judgment again, like I just gave you everything and then I don't even get a thank you. Then you get at a certain level, you can go in this fuck you mode, which I felt by overgiving myself because I'm also a perfectionist and I was quite a pleaser and taking care of a lot of people in my family.
mm,
So um, to learn that you can give without depleting yourself,
mm,
that starts from the essence because then it's out of love. And what you said, without any obligation, expectation, it's just me giving,
yeah,
and that's especially true towards your kids because every relation has some transactional thing like I want to be friends, but then there needs to be some kind of interaction or I need to get something back as well because else why would I want to be friends? But
yeah,
for your kids it's really in a more unconditional way. You're also systemically supposed to give without wanting or knowing what you will receive back. I cannot say, now you say thank you. Now you say I love you. Now I want a hug. That then it becomes manipulative.
yeah,
Mm. And then it's actually my inner child talking, my missed love, missed care. Like that's my hurt that
yeah,
wants something back.
yeah,
So if it's like we can have this adult transaction, like I like to call you, but I would also love some curious questions back. But it's not like, no, I already texted you 3 times and you didn't reply. Then it gets into this drama. And most of the times that's a child and my inner hurt. And you can never give me enough love or attention or anybody, not you specifically, to fill this hole. That's
that,
really something from the inside. And that's the work I
yeah.
think we're both also doing to show people how to take care of themselves from the inside.
Beautiful, beautiful. Because you just reminded me of one thing that I see happening as well, and it's more unconsciously. But I almost get the feeling or the idea that people, of course, you shy away from pain, you shy away from, if things get uncomfortable and things, but it's almost if like, yeah, but when I do this, then everything is over. There's nothing more to do or something, getting kind of that idea. And it's not really conscious. As I say, it's more subconscious. It's almost this hesitation.
Hmm.
And there's a part of hesitation of, oh no, that might hurt. Um, but if we still got time, I wonder how you experience that, this pain, how quickly it can be over once you look at that and once you're ready to do, because there's no year-long, 10-year, 20-year struggle, struggling for a century. It's way quicker than you think.
Hmm.
But then the other thing, what if you do this, what are you making yourself free of and possible in your life? Because
Hmm.
what I feel, and I see this with myself, I'm working a lot on myself as well to get this done, is the shadow side, the healing work, the getting rid of everything that's holding us back, whatever you call it, which pattern those are, that's one part. But what about the light side, the other side of the spectrum where we talk about talents, gifts,
Mm.
soul mission, what you came here to do in life, climbing a mountain that is actually freaking yours, you know, um,
Yeah.
so that on the end of your last day, you hopefully belong to the group who says, done not everything right, but I rocked it. This is what I just wish people could do, all of us. There's this part as well. And interestingly enough, I'm curious how you see it, but I always have the feeling as if we are more afraid of the light and showing our talents,
Yeah.
even more than it is to look at the pain. But I,
Yeah.
I wanted to get your insight on what you feel
Yeah.
those kind of like two spectrums.
Yeah. So looking at the shadows, it's one part, but you can also get into an addictive mode to work from shadow to shadow to shadow, which will
Mm.
never be done. So then we're more trauma addicted, in my opinion. And we all go into the extremes. You always have to walk the spectrum to get back into a balance. So once there is more focused on the shadow, but I'm also now using in my work more and more to bring the shadow into the light and even make mourning, like really mourn the loss, mourn the missed things to the light, because it can be light as well. So mourning can be cries, but it can be all laughter fits. So I think it should be way more coming back into this yin yang, right? So we
Mm.
have the dark, we have the light, but in this darkness, there's light. In this lightness, there's dark. If you don't have them both, there's nothing. So the balance, the steady state is not a flat line. A flat line means death. So we need these ups and downs. And where we are afraid of pain, conflict, and failure, we're way more afraid of success and getting into this true light. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And I get chills from this. And I know that my whole thing is like, oh, don't say it because it's true. But and I'm still on this path, like how big can I be? How much more of me can I show without being rejected, without being cast out, without being, I don't know. So there is a lot of uh, fear, fear of not belonging on this side. Like I start running and shining, and then I'm here all alone on this fucking planet. Like, where did everybody go? How the hell did this happen? Did I all blast you into? So that's a fear I know I have. So I keep sabotaging also still in this stuck yuck now,
Mm.
sabotaging myself, not getting bigger. And yeah, this is quite a team indeed. So
Yeah, yeah. No,
um,
same here, same here.
and but that's nice. I think that's also showing the human side, like we're not the Buddha and the gurus. And because I'm working on this, because I also have my yuck and stuck and struggles, I can relate. I can show you the way. I'm here. You can see what I've already done. I've lived through it. You've lived through it. And that makes it embodied. It's not like, okay, I studied this from a book and now we're in page 3 and I'm going to give you this kind of session. Like, oh my God. Yeah. The leadership course from a not leader. Ugh.
Yeah, that's one example. Yeah.
Yeah. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's really important. And our time is going really, really fast. You said something about hypnosis you wanted to touch upon. So I would
Oh,
really
yes.
love to know what would you want to tell um, the listeners, like, or the watchers, like, what's one example and maybe this hypnosis thing. And
Mm.
if we got cut out, we just come back in.
Yes. Okay. Beautiful. I try to keep it short. Interestingly enough, just because of hypnosis, it's so interesting. People have the wrong idea. They always say when I do hypnosis, they think I come with a clock,
Hmm.
like tick, 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 and then make them run around like a chicken and they don't remember anything and lose control. I'm like, gosh, no. Because we work with the natural state of your brain, the theta waves. So just the state when you fall asleep or when you wake up and remember the dreams. That's the natural state. You do this twice, every night, every day, anyhow, by nature. So in that relaxed state, which is, and more science find out that that's a deep relaxing, deep healing state of the body. The body has natural healing abilities that come online right in that state more and more as well. Um, so working in that state by now, I'm saying, you know what? Discussing with my partner, he actually made me aware of this. You're not hypnotizing people. You're okay. So talking with my friend actually made me realize that I'm not hypnotizing people. I'm getting people out of hypnosis in that sense. In like, think of people who sit 10 hours at times a day in front of their computers working. You know, we are with our telephones and then at home Netflixing and God knows what binge watching, or any other kind of pattern that keeps you so stuck that you
Mm.
can't even sit still with yourself for 5 minutes, even three. Let it be one, you know? And I'm like, oh, that's a good one. So I'm continuing now on this one to call it more a vision quest. because that is
Mm.
what it is. It's more like a guided meditation, and you really get deep insights. And as I say, everyone doing that session always, first question everyone asks is, why am I here on this planet? Why, what's this, what's the mission? So that gives you kind of idea what level you can go to.
Hmm.
Um, and there's only one, I think for all of this work, there is two, two prerequisites, I would say. One is absolute surrender to your own being, to your process without judgment. That surrendering is absolutely important. And the second one is also then being ready to take responsibility for yourself.
Mm.
And that's that part of not making anyone outside of yourself, the bad guy, the thing that's not working. Because I think we all agree there's enough shit happening on the world. Sorry for the language there, and enough bad things. But if we just moan about and make it worse, what's that gonna do?
Hmm.
So taking that responsibility and shuffling it the other way around, I would say that's the way to go, at least for me,
Yeah.
and sharing that with those people. And yeah, one thing to share that comes, for example, in the hypnosis is with the tree that I shared about. But one story that cracks me up every time that I'm thinking about, there was this colleague who mentioned in the before the session that she has a fear of death, and
Mm.
it's quite yeah, it's just like a feeling it's stopping her.
Mm.
So we went into the session, and long and behold, she comes actually into a life, or her soul shows her past life, where she's been a woman, um, living with her husband and only boys at home, but she was actually the chief at home, so to say,
Hmm.
bringing the food in, and yeah, taking charge more. And she was really like, I'm owning the land. This is mine. But not in like, this is mine egotistically, but really from a deep sense of belonging, being also drawn and connected to nature. And then we went through that life, and onto the even to the day of death. And she lies there way above 90, white hair. They put her in a beautiful white dress, and she was like, God, they put me in this dress. I'd rather have my trousers on and be outside if I could. So we cracked up laughing already there. But then, and I asked, how is it with you now? Because you're going to die, aren't you? And she said, but you know what? I had a beautiful life. It's really time.
Mm.
Getting a bit emotional every time I think back. But those are the messages that your soul gives. And then she turned around, and she looked at, I mean, the people being in deep hypnosis, but they're so in character at times. She said, "But I even have my pistol here, so I can go shooting and hunting again if I needed to." And we cracked up laughing again. And when I brought that colleague, that dear friend, back, we cried and laughed at the same time.
Mm.
um, and I love this analogy because that is really this feeling of bringing the light and the dark together. You cry and you laugh because of, potentially a bit of grief that was going on, but also because of the joy of life and all of the messages. And you really get into the state of being able to take everything together. You don't judge anymore. You understand yourself more. And then you go out much more freely, and you understand, oh my God, the
Mm.
fears and everything, all the stories that we've been telling ourselves up until this point. And
Wow.
also don't judge them. It's just all learnings. It's all learnings from our soul, from our higher selves that we want to do. And take it with any other example. It doesn't need to be a fear of death. It can be anything. It can be the littlest of things. But for
Mm.
really is important for you, that is what your own self, the cosmic field around you, give it a name, is ready to share. If you
Mm.
surrender and take responsibility, that's all. It's simple. Potentially not easy, but it's simple. So that's always it's a very, very touching example.
I really love that example, and also as a closing example, and asking the listeners or the people who see this on YouTube, like, try this, try to sit with yourself for a minute or three to see what happens. Like, can you be in this restful, relaxed state, or is your mind running, or do you get restless or uneasy with it? To actually stay with it and see what it brings you. And if that's not possible, to really ask yourself, okay, but who can help me with that? Because you don't have to do it alone. We can do a lot by ourselves. I think like all the things we teach, there is an essence in you who knows this.
Right.
But the question is, how fast do you want it to go? To if you have somebody pulling you up, or you can work with somebody in a field, you actually feel it. There's a slipstream of somebody who already did the work. You can actually feel it, like resonating or getting attracted to people in this way of
Mm.
this is the right coach for me, or a right friend for me, or a right relation for me. That it's always giving you what you need.
Yeah, I
Where
love
can they
that.
find you, Alex?
Well, my website is Alex Gerdes, Alex Gerdes. So Alex with the X and then Gerdes, like my name, it says here on the screen.
Mm-hmm.
.nl for the Netherlands.
Mm-hmm.
Instagram, LinkedIn, just look up the name, you'll find me there as well.
Yeah, I will
Um,
put it also in the show notes.
yeah. My room, that our beautiful session room that we have at this time here is in Driebergen. So I
Mm-hmm.
work mostly in the Utrecht Driebergen area. And most of what I do is one-on-one physical presence requiredness
Yeah.
kind of case, let's say. But always happy to check in online. I got an intake form that people can fill so that we can figure out, where I can help them with. And always happy to have a free intake and a 30, 45 minutes free of charge session as well, where you can even experience at least part of the method and see whether, as you say, we resonate, because that's the most important thing for me.
Yeah.
People don't have to come to you, to me, but the ones that resonate, please do. As I do that as well by now, and the more we bring that resonance into life, the easier and more joyful that this planet is. And that's all I wish for this world, to be a bit
Mm.
more at peace, a bit more joyful, and live from the heart. Yeah, definitely.
Thank you so much, Alex. I love this podcast. I'm going to listen to it.
Me too.
It's rich. It's rich and potent, and we would love to hear what resonated with you, what insights you got. So please follow, share, and let us know how you received it, or what you wanted to receive from it, and check us out indeed if you feel like. So thank you,
Thank you, Melanie. Thank you so much for your time.
and until the next episode.
Yes.
Bye bye.
Bye.